Alrighty, here we go again. Now, what I need is, let's see, let's put the chat up, overlay that, and let's also, how do I send a link out to my buds? Copy invite link, okay. Let me put this streaming day 2 now. Join me. I need headphones, don't I? I don't have anybody join me. I'm gonna have to be able to hear them. Hear them, scare them. There we go. That is terrible music. Now that I can hear it, let me turn it off. That's really awful. How about this? This is awful. All right. No. No music. All right. Hello, select your name here. Good to see you again. Welcome to Twitch. I am just now getting started here. Hello, Gregor Road. Or something. Gregorovich. It went so well yesterday, I just thought I'd try it again. And we shall see. Ooh, somebody has joined me. That's interesting. Paul, how are you? Good to see you. I thought you would be solving your own problem today. We are 26 minutes out. Let me show you just a recap of last night's performance. Here, we'll go back to the full screen. Hello, everybody. This was last night's performance. Day 1. Why am I not seeing? I need to do this. There we go. Spending a lot of time kind of messing around with that. Why don't I? Okay. Yeah, so I'll leave you in there, Paul. Your camera's on. If you decide you want to join, you can, but you're in. Now, Paul is a very good coder who will be doing his own version. Let's stop screen sharing. Start screen sharing. There we go. Okay. Can I also switch? Yes, let's do that. Let's do that. Okay. Wish I could make my screen a little bit bigger. I can do this. No, that's not better. Or this. When Paul comes in, we'll do that. Or somebody else comes in. I'm gonna get started in a few minutes. I just wanted to start setting this up ahead of time. So just to recap, get me kind of in the spirit of this. Here is the code from day 1. And this is how we're going to do it again in day 2. It was pretty easy. I never did quite figure out how to replace what was going on with this this code here. I really wanted to do it in a different way using an iterative called an iter library function called for, and it just wasn't working. So anyway, we solved it. We solved it in a reasonable amount of time. But let's close that, save it and kill it, and open a new one. And this is going to be 202402. And there it is. Now I'll have to, let's just quickly replace a few things. I'm going to replace pound with O2 globally. Okay. Day 2, 2024. We're going to say started at 9 p.m. on 1 December 2024. Let's hope we finish it in a reasonable amount of time. I'm taking bets on how long before I can't solve it in an hour or two. And that might be today. That might happen tonight. We shall see. Yeah, I like to do this in Common Lisp. So just real quickly to get you up to speed, this is a template I use for all of the problems, all the AOC problems, same as I used the last couple of years. I like Common Lisp because I can work in a REPL, that's what's on the right here, as I'm going, and test stuff out. Plus it has cumulative compilation, so I'm compile a function at a time, so I don't have to write it out, then compile it, then run it and see what happens. I can do it immediately. So I'm just going to run that. I did a quick CC, or actually E, and I have Lispy running, so E will evaluate that. And this loads in the libraries I like to use. There's 6 libraries I like to use. This one I will use on every one of them. This is called 5AM. It's a testing framework, and it allows me to run tests as I go in the Emacs, which is very nice. I don't have to exit the thing, exit the file. Iterate is a replacement for traditional syntax in Common Lisp is loop, and it's awful. It's not Lispy. It's terrible. It was a compromise with the Lisp committee back in the 80s. Iterate is a library that uses a for loop, much like you're used to from C or Python. CLPPCRE is short for Common Lisp. Let's see, it's something Perl compatible regular expressions. Basically, it's a regular expression library that is similar to the Perl syntax, which is similar to every other syntax. You know, it's kind of the standard for regular expressions. I find I frequently am using regular expressions, especially at the beginning of the problem, to parse the data that's provided. Trivia is a matching, pattern matching. I use that sometimes. Serapium is just a bunch of Lisp utilities. String is a bunch of string utilities. These are the kinds of things Python would have built in. Common Lisp doesn't, but I load them automatically. So they are now part of my Common Lisp image, and they're in there. I use this command, I don't know why, but I think it makes it possible for me to use iter instead of loop. At least I'm telling myself that. This is how you define the package that I'm going to be in, which is the package day 2. It's going to use Common Lisp, it's going to use iterate, and then it's going to use these local nicknames for the libraries that I just mentioned. I don't bother with the local nickname for string because str is short enough. So these are just shortcuts. And then this is the most important. Actually, let me make sure I compiled that. This is the most important because it in package says, okay, what's going on next? All of the code is going to go into the package day02, which I've defined above it. But I also have to do one more thing. I have to tell the REPL. I'm going to switch over to the REPL. I said I'm going to switch up. There we go, to the REPL window. And I'm going to, oops, let's switch back. N to copy it, X, O to move to the other window, yank it, and I'm going to run that. So now you see I've gone from package day one, which was yesterday's package. And it has, by the way, that has all the definitions I did yesterday, all the functions I defined, etc. Now to day two, which doesn't have any of those. It just has this so far. Back over here, this next command says run the tests when they're compiled in line, which you'll see I do. I write a test as I'm going, and to test the function I've just defined, if I've written a test, I will run the test, and it'll immediately give me a pass or fail, and I'll know how I stand. I like to do that. If this were a bigger project, most professional coders put their test files, if they do testing, which a lot don't, but if they do testing, they'll put their tests in, hold on a second, let me just answer you, Paul. Yes, those go to, those are not public. They put their tests in a separate file and run them occasionally. I like to run as I go. In fact, the whole design of this template for me is that the whole solution to parts 1 and 2 from every day is in a single text file, and that's this. The other thing I always do, and I have to fix this, because I ran against this last night, is I define the a global function called data file. You know it's global because it has what they call earmuffs. It has these asterisks on either side. A global function data file, and really this is just a string. Here, I'll type it out here in the REPL that says where my data file is. As soon as we get the problem, and we are probably getting fairly close, I will download the input file. Yeah, 17 minutes away. I will download the input file, and I always put it in the same place, which is in the same folder. In fact, I'll show you the folder structures for my Advent of Code. You see I have 25 folders. Each day has a folder, and the input for each day, there's the list file and there's the input. That's just a sync thing error because I had the same stuff elsewhere. This is the compiled program. One of the nice things about Lisp is it has kind of this incremental compilation, but it also, if you compile the whole file, writes out a very fast compiled version. That's the FASL version, which is basically assembly. So it's it's kind of the best of both worlds of an interpreted and a compiled language. So I haven't done that yet on this, so there's no FASL file for this because I haven't done anything yet. No, Paul, I'm on YouTube today, and anybody who's watching, I am on my own channel. I did not, I'm on my own YouTube channel. Let me tell Paul that. Okay, so we are sitting here waiting. How do I refresh? I'd like to refresh the screen. This is a flaw, a bug in Restream, which we're using. I no longer see the screen over here. Let me stop screen sharing. I'm going to get fat and then start it again. And now I can see it again. Okay. I am seeing the chat as everybody is. You can see O Jedi Knight and SRD Law PLLC. I think you're a lawyer. Greg Scott, see you all in there. So the chatters can chat. You're all coming from Twitch. Should I, can I turn on the YouTube? Oh yeah, somebody turn it on. Maybe I have an angel looking over my shoulder. So maybe Anthony Nielsen or somebody is taking care of that for me. I told Anthony not to stay up late for this. This is just me. You and me hanging out, doing a little live coding. If you're new to Advent of Code, let me show you what we're talking about here. This is the Advent of Code page, adventofcode.com. He's been doing this for many years. We can go back in time and look at all the advent of codes. He's been doing it since 2015. Um, I started doing it regularly, I think, in 2020, maybe 2019. I have gone back to get stars from earlier years. Yeah, I think this was probably an earlier year. I might have started it. I don't know. That's a good question. Anyway, last year was the best year yet. I got 42 stars out of a possible 50. I kind of bailed on day 22 because it got really hard. And but we have a leaderboard. This is the leaderboard for everybody, and you can see these are all the people who solved it, and the first 100 people who solved it in a very little time, for the most part, they get points. I can see my times and my rank. So I solved part one in 47 minutes, and that got me the rank of 9,351. No points scored for that. You have to be in the top 100 to score. But I don't do this for time, for speed. I do it for fun, and because it's a challenge, and I like to code. Let's see, what else can I show you? Well, I'll show you our local leaderboard. These are the club members, and I think I posted in chat, but I'll post it again in a bit. The private code so you can join our leaderboard. You see, actually, this is pretty good. We have 21 people now who've done day one. They have 1 star. All time, there were more people last couple of years participated, but this year so far, that's a good number. 21 people. See the global times if you click on day number at the top of the leaderboard. All right, let's do that again because I would like to see that. Click this number here. Oh, let's look, it's hidden. So I believe this guy who solved it in 9 seconds, part one and two. Remember, I took an hour and something to do it. This guy who solved part one and part two in 9 seconds, I believe I saw on Reddit that he in fact used AI to do it. And he apologized. He said, "Oh, I didn't know it was against the rules." So he really shouldn't count. This guy, these are the more reasonable times. A minute, thereabouts. Down in the 100, first 100 users, the slowest was 2.5 minutes. Is that amazing? Now here's the times for first 100 users. What is this? Is this different? How is that different? First 100 users get both stars. Okay. First 100 users get the first star. Yeah, you can see he used AI. There's no way you do it in 4 seconds and then 9 seconds total. That's crazy talk. So those are the leaders. We're not playing in that game. We don't play that. We're playing in our local private leaderboard, and these are people in the club. One of them, Paul Holder, is in the chat right now. He's going to do his, and once he's solved his, he's going to come on over and help me solve mine. I don't want too much help. Well, at least right now, I don't want too much help. I might in time. So the guy who does this, his name is Eric Wastel. He's brilliant. He does many volunteers who help him. It takes him much of the year to do this. He reveals the first problem at midnight, December 1st, and then the subsequent problems midnight each of the days. So we're waiting. It's midnight Eastern time. So we're waiting another 10 minutes before he unveils the second problem. The problems get successively harder. The first one really is just an amuse-bouche. It's not even a problem. It's easy, it's simple, it's fast. But I suspect it will get hard quickly. Last year it got very hard, very fast. Oh, I will show. Paul is telling me that's right, out of sync. Don't feel bad. This is not a race. This is not a race. Paul is reminding me that if you go to twit.community, I don't know what is going to happen to the tab if I do this. Will it go there, or will I have to... Yeah, it did. Paul, I'm not logged in, but Paul posts his own Advent of Code solutions right here. So you could see this is his from yesterday. And he does it in Java, so he's kind of kooky. He's a crazy man. I'm doing it in Lisp, which is a much more sensible programming language. Much more sensible. Oh, good. Darren Oki has joined us as well. So I will turn you guys on, and SciPhase too. Wonderful. Three of the people from our leaderboard. In fact, if I remember correctly, SciPhase is at the top of the leaderboard. Look at that. This is for part one. Can I get times? I clicked that. I don't know if I get times on the private leaderboard. You can use a different ordering. Local score. Huh. Or global score. Yeah. I hear somebody's audio. Who am I hearing? Darren, how you doing?
Yeah,
Nice to meet you.
yeah, you need to install the browser extension. That's where you get all the graphs and all the cool
Oh,
stuff.
yeah. I've seen that. I do not have that. This is I have to use Chrome for Restream, so I have this is not set up at all for anything. I usually use Arc. Um, Darren, it's nice to meet you. Darren is Australian and is a very proficient professional coder, and one of the Jedi who helped me in our club have helped me last year considerably. He and Paul are really quite good at this. SciPhase also, so this is going to be a lot of fun. You don't. I imagine that you want to solve the problem first, Darren, and then come back. So
Yeah, I'll be disappearing.
yeah, because these guys are going to actually do it. But guess what? They're going to be back like that. Well, I'm still typing in the first test, so they'll be back. Paul, Darren, and SciFiz, I'm sure, all want to do their own version of this. 7 minutes out. It's crazy to do this in public. I am not a good enough coder to do this in public, but I am, I have a lot. I'm a show off, so I'm going to do it anyway. Let me see if my Emacs is all ready to go here. Let's see. Um, I did fix this. I have to fix that in the template. So I think I'm good on that. That's the path to the input. Uh, just for people who are new to this, there is a different input file. There are many different input files, so there are many different correct answers. The way this works, when we get the problem, once we solve it, we'll be asked to provide our answer, and if it's correct, you get the gold star. He doesn't want to see your work. He doesn't want to see your code. And I could show you my answer because everybody's going to get a different answer. I don't know how many different problem sets there are, but there are quite a few different problem sets, which is great. It eliminates cheating. You can't look into the answer of the guy next to you. Um, but so what we do is as soon as you get the problem and you start reading it, one of the very first things you do is you download the problem set. So the puzzle input. So if I click this link, I think it opens it in a new tab. I don't want to do that. Open in this window. How do we open something in a? Yeah, I can't. It doesn't. This is. I have to figure this out in Restream. Restream will not go to the next tab. But if you click it, you can see the puzzle input. If I hold down Shift, does it do it? No, it just opens a new window. If I hold down Option, does it do it? Nope, doesn't do anything. Just downloads it. Okay, well, anyway, you'll see me do that because I have to download the input. And then, so the way I work, and I think probably most people work, he will give you an example in the code, a sample, and tell you what the answer would be for that sample. And I think the way most people do it is they try to write code and then try it with the sample. And if it works, then they try it on the full input set. The sample is usually much shorter and less complex. And it is possible, it's happened to me many times, that you solve the sample problem correctly, but can't solve the full input correctly. Here is the example he gave yesterday, which is a list of two number strings. And we had to divide them into columns, sort them, do some manipulation. It was very simple to get the answer. So you'll see in the Emacs, let me shift over to my Emacs. The first thing I do, and we're getting close, so I probably shouldn't mess around too much, but I will quickly show you this. is first thing I always do is I take the example, I make it a constant, and then I write a test for it. Here's the test right here. And if I can pass this test, watch, I'll compile it. Well, I can't do that. I'm not in the right package. But if I compile it and it runs correctly using the code I've written, then I'll go back and I'll do it for the full input, the data file. So this is just my idiosyncratic way of doing it. All right, back to day 2. Let's quickly go to the website and see where we are. We are 3 minutes 52 seconds out. You feeling excited? You could do the puzzles in any language. There are people who do it in Excel spreadsheets. There are people who do it in all kinds of crazy languages. You get to choose the language. He doesn't care how you get to the answer. He only cares if you get the answer correct. Probably best to do it. I would say, I understand Eric writes most of this in Perl. So Perl is a good language for that, but I would say almost more than half of the solvers are using Python. There are people like Paul who use Java. There's C++. Darren, you use C++, I think I remember. I can't remember. Yeah, he's gone. Different people use the language they're most comfortable with. Sometimes people use this as an opportunity to learn a new language. There's one fellow I saw on Reddit who this year is going to write answer each day in a different language, 50 or 25 different languages. So, yeah, Darren uses Python. Paul says if he thought about it, it would have been good to do yesterday in a spreadsheet. It's true. It was that simple. It kind of begged to be done in a spreadsheet. Sci-Phase, I see you in here twice now. I'm not sure why. Just FYI, you only need close that tab. And I have turned on your audio. If you want to say something, go right ahead. I hadn't turned it on yet. That's probably why you open another tab. 2 minutes and counting. I have to say I was tired watching the Niners lose a horrible game in Buffalo. I was ready to go to bed, and I thought, no, I said I would do this, and now I feel enlivened again. It's really fun to do these. I really enjoy them. It's fun until you can't get it. Is that what you call it out of sync? Polyglot AOC. Every day a different language. I have done it. First few times I did it in Racket, which is a scheme. And I like it a lot. I like Racket an awful lot. But I've kind of decided I used to language hop a lot. I've decided I'm going to stick with Common Lisp and Emacs, and because those are kind of classical languages. I like the way it's really nice for this kind of stuff. All right, we're getting close. Yeah, Lisp is used. It was originally used a lot for AI. It's actually based on a mathematical concept, a linear algebra concept, and the idea was to have a kind of mathematically pure, provable language, but it's modified quite a bit over the years. It's very much like Python. A lot of modern languages, truthfully, take ideas from Lisp. Lisp's been around for an awful long time. It's as old as I am. I enjoy the camaraderie too, Paul. Thank you for supporting me. I appreciate it. It's nice to have you and Darren and Sci-Phase and everybody. Don't worry about it, Sci-Phase. You're going to do the puzzle. I'm going to do the puzzle. Paul's going to do the puzzle. You guys will be back long before I'm done. And and you can help me out when the time comes. Let's see. Here we go. Let's get going. I need to do this, and I need to add the Advent of Code screen. Come on, baby. Maybe I can't do it on this one. Yeah. All right. 8, 7, 6. Are you ready? Get your fingers warmed up. Here we go. It's going to turn right now. There's day 2 is lit up. That means we can hit it. Ooh, it's not responding. Wait a minute. Oh, you know what? There are a lot of people hitting it. The server is hung. Holy cow, I've never seen this happen. Let me refresh the page. Oh boy. Well, there's some people, some antsy people right now. Oh, wow. They work really hard not to have this happen. Is this local or is this happening to everybody? Oh, I hope they're not getting DDoSed. That would be terrible. You see it too, Paul? Yeah. Paul says it happened a couple of years ago. Oh boy. That Oh man. I think it must be DDoS because Eric knows they're going to get a lot of participants. I don't think there would be a lot more today than there were yesterday. This must be a DDoS, which is really kind of sucky. Yeah, everybody's getting it. Gateway timeout. Oh man. So all of the time solvers. Well, I think probably everybody's experiencing it the same. Ah, there we go. Let's see. Let's see. There we go. Red-nosed reports. Whew. Fortunately, the first location the historians, remember that from yesterday, want to search isn't a long walk from the chief historian's office, while the red-nosed reindeer nuclear fusion fission plant appears to contain all of this stuff, by the way, is nonsense. The speed solvers are already going down here and downloading the puzzle input. They're looking at the puzzle input. They're going jump into the part where it's important, but I like to read the story. While the red-nosed reindeer nuclear fusion fission plant appears to contain no sign of the chief historian, the engineers there run up to you as soon as they see you. Apparently, they still talk about the time Rudolph was saved through molecular synthesis from a single electron. Nonsense. They're quick to add that since you're already here, they'd really appreciate your help analyzing some unusual data from the red-nosed reactor. You turn to check if the historians are waiting for you, but they seem to have already divided into groups that are currently searching every corner of the facility. You offer to help with the unusual data. Now, here's where we get the example and the real problem. The unusual data, your puzzle input, consists of many reports, one report per line. Each report is a list of numbers called levels, 7, 6, 4, 2, 1, etc., separated by spaces. This example contains 6 reports. Okay, each line is a report. Each line has 5 levels. Okay. The engineers are trying to figure out which reports are safe. They can only tolerate levels that are either gradually increasing or gradually decreasing. So a report only counts as safe. This is key. I'm actually going to copy this because this is going to go in my Emacs. If both the following are true, the levels are either all increasing or all decreasing. Any 2 adjacent levels that differ by at least 1 and at most 3. Okay, that is going right here in the code. I'm just going to paste it in. You don't need to see it. I'm going to come back. But that is important. So this is really the problem. We're going to, and then we want to know how, and then we want to know how many reports are safe. Okay. So let me put this in here. Yank it. And then the other thing I'm going to do, and I always do this, is I like to copy the data and turn that into what I call example in my code. So I'm going to switch over to Emacs real quickly and start the code file here. So I've pasted in the problem set. A report only counts as safe if both the following levels are all increasing or decreasing. Any 2 adjacent levels differ by at least 1 or at most 3. Okay. So now I'm going to define a constant defined parameter. And I always call it the same thing, example, just to make it easy for me. And in this case, it's going to be a list of strings. So I show a list by typing a tick and parenthesis. That's just a shorthand for the word list. And I'm going to yank in here the example they gave and close it. Now, I should have a macro. I have in the past had a macro that then quotes this. That's what I need to do. So this, pardon, no, this is ridiculous. I got to turn off the minor mode that I use that's supposed to help balance everything, but it always gets in the way in this kind of thing. I'm just going to quickly put in quotes here. So what I'm going to get from the input file, what I'm going to do with the input file is turn it into a list. Remember, Lisp is a list processing language. That's where Lisp comes from. So the natural thing is to put everything in a list. So there you go. That is a list, the example list. In fact, if I compile it and then type example here, it will show it as a list. And if I click on it, you'll see this is a proper list of 6 strings, 0 through 5, each with 5 digits in it. And that's exactly what I expected. All right. So that's the example. Let's just look at this, and we're going to go back to the problem page in a second, but let's just look at this. So would this be considered safe? If the levels are all increasing or decreasing, 7, 6, 4, 2, 1, yes, they're all decreasing, and they differ by between 1 and 3. 7 to 6 is 1, 6 to 4 is 2, 4 to 2 is 2. So this is safe. This one would be considered safe. This one's all increasing, 1, 2, 7, 8, 9. 2 to 7, though, is more than 3, so that's not safe. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, again, too many. 1, 2, 3, up, and this is going up and down, so that's not safe. 8, 6, 4, 4, 1, that's not safe because it doesn't decrease. So this must be the last one, the safe one. It is. So you can see we're going to have 2 safe lists. That's what he says. Now is when I define the test. So in general, you always want to define a test before you write code. And this test is going to be for the final function, which I always name the same. In this case, day_01-1. And the test is really simple. 5a, again, is my testing framework, remember. I'm going to do an is test, and I'm going to say equals to, and if I correctly code day 01 or 02-1 using as its input the list of strings, I should call this, let's call this report, shall we? If I run it on the report and it's the example report, it should give me the answer 2. Okay, so actually what I'm going to do is example, not report, but I'll make it report in the function. So that's a test, right? Now if I run it right now, obviously it's not going to work. It's going to say, wait a minute, what are you talking about? There is no function day01-1. Well, of course not, because it's day 2, but there isn't that function. I'm going to write real quickly a stub that will solve that. Defun day_02-1, and it expects a report, and let's just say it returns 0 for now. Compile that. Now there is a function, and if I run the test, it's going to say, well, wait a minute, you said it should be 2, but it evaluated as 0. That's what we expect. So now the test is done. This is a stub for the final function. Now I just have to think about how I'm going to take this data in and turn it into something I can use. Not too complicated, to be honest. So there's 2 tests we have to run on each string. So what I probably want to do, I usually end up dividing, if you were writing a one-liner or want to do this quickly, you might not chunk it up into different functions, but I always like to chunk it up into functions. Small, just a handful of line functions. That makes it easier for me to understand what each function is doing. You can then compose the functions together to do the final problem, but it also makes it easy to test. It's easier to understand the logic. That's how I like to work. And usually in these problems, the first function I write is a parsing function. Let's take this data and turn it into something I can use. Actually, one thing I haven't done yet, so let's go back to the website, is download the data. So let me get my puzzle input. I'm going to save that as input text in day 2. I always save it with the same name. I'm just, OCD that way. Okay, and we can make sure, I had a problem earlier, so we'll just, yesterday I had a problem because I had a different path name. But let's see if this path name is correct. I'm going to compile this, And then just over here in the REPL, the read, evaluate, print loop, I'm going to load in the file that I just downloaded and make sure it looks proper. So UIOP is a utility function read file lines. And I'm going to do it from the data file. That's that constant that I defined over on the left. And there it is. That's the data file provided to me. If I click on it, you'll see it's a proper list. And it is a list as we expected. Oh, okay. So right away, right away, we see one of the curves that he just threw us. You might assume from the example that the list is going to be kind of regular, which is 5 numbers per line, right? No, not so. This line, for instance, has more numbers, quite a few more numbers. So that's interesting. That's one of the reasons you examine the input file. So we can't make any assumptions about how many digits there are. Is there some garbage at the beginning there? No, I probably put that in. Okay. You can see that there are variable lengths. Okay. So we're not going to make any assumptions about how long each report is. This is a list of reports. A report is a string of numbers. But all we really care about is, are the numbers going in one direction, up or down, and are all the numbers adjacent by no more than between 1 and 3. So that's pretty simple. You're already done, SciPhase? Holy cow. Wow. Okay, SciPhase. There are some people who are very much faster than I am. But I'm also explaining what I'm doing. And anyway, I'm not in a hurry. I like to kind of do it right. So let's do a function that's going to read in this input file and turn it into a report. So parse reports, I'll call this. And it's going to take a list of strings. I always use LOS as my list of strings. Hey, SciPhase. Let me see if... Oh, Darren's back. You didn't finish already, did you, Darren?
Yeah.
Wow, you're a speed demon. That's 12 minutes. Good job.
No, SciPhase is speed to speed. SciPhase always beats me.
And you do it in Python.
Yep.
It's really too early for me to ask for help, but is there anything you'd like to say without giving it all away?
Not really. I think
it's pretty
it's
straightforward.
Yeah, in fact, you've just got to do it as it's written. If
Right.
you try to be tricky, it's harder, I think.
Right. And the nice thing about Python, it has a lot of list comprehension type tools, so it's very easy for you to take a string, for instance, and parse right through it. I'm going to write a little parse routine that actually turns this into numbers because I don't want to kind of mess around with string to num all the time. So read a list of strings, each containing a set of numbers, of number strings, and returns. This is going to be a waste of time for you, Darren, unless there's something you'd like to. Maybe I'll try to get into trouble. How about that?
It's fun to watch.
Returns a list. Darren, what do you do for a living?
I'm a programmer, so yeah.
Yeah. What kind of code? You've been playing around with a lot of AI stuff, I know.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just for fun. It's I'm just a corporate. Like I've got a little software consultancy, so we just
Nice.
do with anything. Yeah.
And you primarily work in Python, or what languages do
Oh
you?
God, no.
No.
Python is just for fun and for this.
It's
at the moment,
perfect for this.
Mostly C sharp, but
Yeah.
in America we're all Java. So
Oh, okay. I thought you were Australian.
I am, but I worked at Morgan Stanley for a while.
Oh, okay.
E-trading.
Well, so you understand all that boilerplate that poor old Paul Holder has to write every 5 seconds. Uh-oh. Who is that? SciPhase, your microphone still is not working. You guys are slowing me down. Now I'm about to parse this arbitrary list of strings into numbers. So what I'm going to do is create a result for here, which is going to be a list of, I'm going to call it reports. And it's just going to be an empty list to begin with, because that's where I'm going to push these things. And then I'm going to do what I did yesterday, which is a do list. And I'm going to say for report in LOS, each one of those is a string. Maybe I won't say report because it's not a report yet. It's really a string in LOS. I'm going to take the string and I'm going to do a couple of things to it. First thing I'm going to do is something I did yesterday, which is split it on the space. And as I did yesterday, I'm not going to assume that the space is one space. It could be 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to split it on any number of spaces, and I'm going to take that string and split it. Now we'll just real quickly we can do that if I take this. We'll just see if this works okay. I'm going to take the first result. I'm up in the REPL now of that read, which will be the first report. And I'm going to do that split, RE split, and I'm going to do that split onto it just to see. I'm being maybe a little more cautious than I would have been. I might have worked a little bit faster on this. And see, okay, it did. It split those into a list of each digit. Oh, I can actually do that with an example. But anyway, it split that into a list of each digit, the first line. Okay, so that's what I want. Now what I want to do is map those. I want to turn them into numbers. And for that, I'm going to use a list comprehension called mapcar. This is a function that runs a function, in this case, the function parse integer, against each item in the list and returns the subsequent list. So that is going to take the list of number strings and turn it into a list. And I'm going to push that list onto my reports. So now I think I'm done with parsing. So what I've done is created an empty list called reports. I'm going to go one by one through every string in the provided input. And for each of them, I'm going to split that string on a space. I'm going to then, which turns this into a list of number strings, digit strings. And then I'm going to parse each of those into a number, and I'm going to push the resulting list onto reports. If I've done that right, I can now test that on an example and see if I get what I want. So let's do this real quickly. Parse reports. Yeah, this is actually a really easy one. I think. I still haven't, I kind of am nervous about, oops, okay, so I didn't get what I wanted. Oh, I know why, because I didn't return anything. So before I'm done here, I need to return reports. How about that? Got to return a result. Normally Lisp returns the result of the last function, but in this case, the do list result is nil, like I'm done, and I don't want that. I actually want this, which is, I think, exactly what I'm looking for. Notice, by the way, because I used push, it's a stack, so the first number is actually the last number here, but it looks like it did exactly what I wanted to do. Yeah, I'm getting a list. So there you go. So the parsing is done. I now have a list of numbers. Now I have to go through that list of numbers one by one and verify two things. One, that it's going all in one direction. It's not going up. If it's going up, it continues to go up. Or if it goes down, it continues to go down. And that it never jumps. Actually, the +1 is always going to tell you if it's moving. So there's probably a clever way to figure this out. I feel like I always look at these and go, there's some mathematical logic here that would combine both these tests. But instead, I'm just going to do the obvious and naive thing, which is I'm going to go through each of these lists. And this is actually going to be a simple function, just one function that'll take one of these lists. It'll just take this, for instance. I need to write a function that does that and says, and returns true if it's safe, false if it's not, right? So defun, and I'm going to just call this safe report, question mark. And the report is going to be a list of numbers. Okay, so returns true if the list of numbers is how do we say this? Is either increasing or decreasing. I have to think about this. This is where sometimes I would think it'd be good to go to bed and just kind of noodle on it. That's not a very good way to put it, but that's what I'm going to write. So a report is safe. It's only going to look at one of these. So how do we do this? Actually, this could very easily be... There's two ways you could do this, with recursion or an iteration. I think I want to do iteration because I need to preserve the previous... Let me think about this. I need to preserve the direction. So I need to know if there's a direction change. Let me look and see if Darren's muted. I don't know why. Sci-Phase, I've unmuted you. Are you there, Sci-Phase?
Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
I was getting some nasty hiss from you earlier.
You still hear me? Yeah, you do.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, my... Hold on. Echo myself 1 second.
Mute your
hold
mute
on.
your stream.
How am I gonna... So yeah, my desktop mic seems to be bad or something.
It's
So
often
I'm
the
using
case.
the mic
Yeah.
on my phone, although
Yeah,
I don't hear you
sounds
coming
good.
out of my phone. You're only coming out of the desktop, so I'm now hearing myself echo back. So yeah,
How you doing?
I'm good.
Tell me about your Advent of Code experience. You're doing this in what language?
I am in Python.
In Python, and you've done it before many times, I know.
Mhm.
You, in fact, were the first to solve yesterday's in our little group.
I think
How fast did you do it yesterday?
6 minutes something for
Wow.
part two.
Yesterday wasn't that hard, was it?
No, it wasn't.
But today's not that hard. It's as Darren said, you just have to do it. I look at it though, and I think maybe there's some simple way, like I could add up all the numbers and check the averages, or do some kind of mathematical magic to know. But I think I really have to go through each one. I have to say the first number is 1, the second number is 3. Okay, now which direction is that? Forward or backward? Okay, I'm going to establish a direction. So let's do this. We're going to let, let's see, what's a good word for this? I'll put direction. And I'm going to say right now it's nil, because I don't know if it's up or down. But it's good. But that's a local variable that I'm going to keep track of, because if it shifts, then we're immediately bail out and say false. It's not a safe report. This is, by the way, in Scheme, you often will use a question mark for what they call a predicate, a function that returns a Boolean value, true or false. In Lisp, the tradition is to put -p for predicate. I think that's so ugly, and it's probably because they didn't have a question mark in the ridiculous ASCII keyboard that they were using. So I am going to use the Scheme convention and put a question mark. But when I look at that, that tells me, oh, if I run this function on a report, it's going to tell me whether it's safe or not. And that's what I want to know. That's what I'm actually trying to figure out. I'm trying to count the number of safe reports. So I've decided to name the safe report question mark. What will make it unsafe? If the direction changes, right? Or if the difference between the first and second number is not between 1 and 3. Now that's fairly easy to do with an absolute value. So I'm going to, yes, I still hear you, Sci-Phase. I hear you tapping on something.
Sorry. Oh wow, I didn't realize you did that. I didn't see the sound indicators. I thought I was offline.
Don't worry about it. I'll tell you what. If you see, hang in there. Same with
No, I'm here, I'm
same
here.
with
Yeah.
same with Darren and same with Paul. If you see me do something stupid, tell me. But I'm just going to
No,
keep
no,
going
nothing
here.
stupid.
This is basically exactly what I did. Like
Yeah.
you want something intelligent, but it really is just do it.
Yeah, you feel
Okay.
like I often on Advent of Code look at something and go, "Oh, Eric's got some clever algorithm that will immediately tell you." And I go, "Oh, screw it. I'm just going to go through these one at a time." So we're going to go through we have a list we're going through. We're only going to do one of the lists. We don't know how long a list. It's arbitrary. So I'll try it again. I was having trouble last night with my iter. But for n in LON, so for each number in the LON, I have to do XY because on LON, I'm going to go 2 at a time, right? Because I want to see the first, I need 2 numbers. I don't need one number. I need the first number and the second number. So that's going to be by Catter, I think. This is a very Lispy concept. Lisp was originally done in hardware, and the lists were linked lists, and the first node, the first value, was stored it was called car, and I think it was stored in a register called car. And then the pointer to the rest of the list was stored in a register called CDR, CDR. So CAR and CDR. So synonyms in Lisp for the first and the rest of any list are car and CDR. I'm telling you this because cotter is the car of the CDR. So I don't know if I want to do this. I might regret this. For XY on the list of numbers, and I want to go 2 at a time, and I think that's CDR. I'm going to say 2 things. I'm going to do 2 tests. I have to establish a direction. Crap. All right. This isn't going to work because I have to establish a direction on the first one. I only want to know if it changes it from the first one. So I can't let direction equal nil. I can do this, though. If first lon is greater, I could do an if, or I can be clever and do true or false. If the first lon is greater than the second lon, second number in the list, that means that we're going down, right? Okay, I'm gonna actually make this up and down just for clarity. So we'll make this an if. If that, then down, else up is the direction, right? Does that make sense? So I'm looking at my list. I'm saying, okay, if the first number is bigger than the second number, then we're going down. However, if it's not, then we must be going up. So I've established the initial direction. We never want to see that change. The minute the direction changes, we've got an unsafe report. I'm going to be doing this a lot. I wonder if this should be abstracted out. I'm going to be doing that if a lot. I guess I really can't. All right, so that is establishing the direction. Now I have, again, the test. So with xy, I'm going to do this again. This is, let me think about this. This is another if, or maybe it's a when. It's a when. When means basically is an if, but it only triggers the subsequent command if this is true. So when oh, this is a compound nightmare. I want to bail if I did this wrong, by the way. It's a typo. I want to bail if the direction is not the same. So what I have to do is this. When, okay, yeah. When not equal, I hate this kind of stuff. When not equal direction, and if greater x than y, when that's true, then I want to bail. And I can't remember. Do I return? Is it the return? How do I get out of this? I forgot. It should be like return false. False is nil in. So that is one clause. So I'm going through these. So when I hate this. It's so ugly. If x is greater than y, then we're going down, not up. So I'm going to either get, if x is greater than y, oh, if they're equal, what am I going to get? I'm going to get up. So I have to do the equality first. I have to do
don't worry about equal because
they're none.
Your next clause will take into account that.
I understand, but I should do that. That's what I'm saying. I should do that first because that would bail out. I guess you're right. I mean, I could, but the thing is, this is kind of undefined now. If they're equal, I'm going to end up getting up.
Yeah, but either way.
Either way, I'm going to bail. You're right. You're right. Yeah. I'm going to bail either way. Okay. So, I think to be cleaner, you'd probably want to put the test for the difference between the numbers first. But all right. Now, the other test is when absolute value of minus x, y is, actually, let's do it this way. When less than, what is it, 2 is less than, this is true, so I want to have it be greater than. When it's greater than, oh no, this is true, so it has to be, let's do a not. That makes it easier, more logical. When not greater than 1, greater than 0 rather, and less than, when 0 is not less than absolute value this, which is less than, what did he say, 3? At least when at most 3, so less than 4. So my logic is, oops, let's put another parent there. My logic is the absolute value of x minus y is the difference between the two. It has to be greater than 0 and less than 4, right? So so this means it's safe. If 0 is less than the absolute value of x minus y, which is less than 4, that's safe. So when it's not that, okay, that makes sense, right? Then also return nil. Otherwise, true. Wow, that was a lot of work.
The rest of it's easy.
But I think that's it, right? That's the logic. And I have to check the logic to make sure I'm in the right direction. This is just for one line, but I'm going to look at the line. I'm going to go, and I think my syntax is mistaken in some places. But let's, well, for one thing, return is spelled with an R. But let's just check the logic first. So first, I'm going to determine the direction. I'm going to say, if the first number is greater than the second number, then we're going down, right? We're going down. And if we're not going down, then we're going up. So direction will either be down or up. And actually, if the two numbers are the same, it will be up. But that's irrelevant at this point. Now I'm going to go 2 by 2 through this list of numbers. That's what this 4xy on ln by Cotter is. That's 2 by 2. Go 2 by 2 on x and y. And first thing we're going to see is if we've changed direction. And that is if x is greater than y, in other words, the direction, that's going to determine the direction, this if statement, down or up. If it's not the same as the established direction, so it's not equal to that, then we got a problem, that's not safe. We're going to return false. The other item in the iteration is if the absolute value of minus xy, which is the distance between x and y, if it's in between 0 and 4, which is between 1, 2, or 3, but if it's not between 0 and 4, then also it's false. However, if both of those, we go through all of this, neither of these triggering conditions happens, then in fact this report is safe. I'm gonna compile it and it's gonna give me an error. Oh, it didn't. So let's just test it. I should really write some tests for this, but it's so trivial it hardly seems necessary. Safe report, and we'll do it on first.
Famous last words.
Famous last words. I'm going to parse. Do you already see a problem? It's kind of convoluted.
No, I just meant in general.
Yeah, of course. We know it's not going to work. I'm actually surprised it's gotten as far as it did. First report. Let's see. Let's type the words correctly. Example. That's that, and that's that. Let's see. It says that first one is safe. Is it safe? 764. It is. So now we know this next one is not. Let's try the second one. Actually, this is really where you'd write a test. So I will write a test. 5A test. I can't believe it worked. Safe report, and I put a T after this to know this is a test. 5A is true, I think is what I write. Yeah, is true on... Oh, you know what I'm going to do to make this faster is let's do a quick local variable, which is going to be let LON equal, or let's see, let report equal parse reports example. So I'm going to do these tests on the example. And I'm going to say is true, safe report. And I'm going to say, I'm going to work on safe report on the first in reports, the first report, which we know is safe. That should test to be is true. But I'm going to do some more here. Let's do some more. 5A. This is really overkill. And no one is doing this because it's just too painful. Now, actually, that one should be false, right? And I'm going to actually duplicate this line here. What is that? CD? Yeah, CD, CD. And I think it goes, what did we decide? What did Eric say? I think it's true, false, 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 true. Let's try that. True, false, 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 false. CD. Whoops. What am I doing? Go back. CD, one more. Oops. One more. And this one is true. And that's first, second, third. You might say, well, why do you use all this car and cutter stuff if you've got first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth? Whoops. And that's a very good question. Oops, that was wrong. I can't see my my microphone's in the way, so I can't see what I'm typing. Please, I apologize. Fifth. Now, if all of this is correct, this should pass. All 6 of these tests should pass. Do you think it will? If it does, we're done. Oh, nope. Wait a minute. What happened here? Good, 2 passes and 4 fails. Let's see where we failed. This is why you write tests. All right. So, second, third, fourth. Oh, it always returns true. So, I have a flaw. It fooled me. It did. It fooled me. I have a flaw. Control C, and let's clear the history, which is that this function always returns true. In other words, this isn't doing anything, which is about what I thought. In other words, there is a flaw in this. On the other hand, now I have written some tests that will, at some point, if it all works, I'll know with great confidence that I've done the right thing. What did I do wrong here? Let's look at the chat room. Eric, the variables are defined. So typing in Lisp is what they call dynamic. It doesn't assume a type on anything until it's actually assigned something, and then it assumes the type. In this case, we are being given a string of 6 numbers, which we then divided into 6 number strings, which we then converted with parse integer into an integer. So by the time, that's what this parsing does. It splits the strings, converts them to integers, and gives us a list. Instead of, quote, 76421, quote, it gives us a list, 7, with the numbers, the actual integers, 76421. So yes, those are integers. But you can see I don't do any type declarations in Lisp. It's all dynamic. It's typed based on what you stuffed into it, which is both good and bad. Type checking is a very useful thing, but it requires a lot more typing. It's one of the reasons, actually, I use Lisp, is because it does a good job with types without me having to type a lot. So I did something wrong here, and I'm not surprised, to be honest, because I don't think my syntax was very good. Let me call on an assistant. That's what I think I need to do. And I need to, for this, go to my Lisp AI, which I used a little bit last night, and we will switch over to that so you can see the result. So the first thing is, how do I truncate a for loop in iter? Because I want to get out of that one, and I'm just saying return. Yeah, it's not giving me what I want. It didn't understand. Oh, it's thought truncate strings. How do I abort a function inside an iter for loop? That would be more accurately. You got to ask the right question. And actually, I'm not using the right engine. I should be using my common Lisper, but let's see what Well, too late. Let's see if it knows the answer to this. Common Lisper is preferable to the ChatGPT because it's using the bookshelf of Lisp books that I provided to it, and I told it, please don't make up anything. Return is correct. Okay. Yeah, that's right. Use return from if you're returning just from an inside loop. But I want to return from safe report. Maybe I should do return from. Maybe I do need to be explicit. Let me see if that's really the issue. Let's try that. So I'm compiling it. I do love the incremental compilation. So I don't have to compile the whole thing. I just changed this one function. So I'm just control CC, compiling it, and it's now the name is assigned to this new function. And I can run this again. And I'm still getting true every single time. So that's not it. So iter, let me go back to you guys and see. Hi, Professor Panda Bear. Hi, Professor Panda Bear. Good to see you. I am going to go back to my Emacs window, which I should have done right away. And I did make a change, but unfortunately that change by using return from safe report. So I basically said truncate. When this doesn't work, truncate it. When this doesn't work, truncate it. I understand what I'm doing. I think I'm doing it properly. I actually could end the let sooner, couldn't I? Okay. So let's think about, this is where you just have to kind of look at the logic of it, right?
The logic is fine. I think it's the Lispism.
It's something I've done in Lisp. I think it might be for this XY on lawn by Cotter. You know what I could easily do? Let's just do it. I'm going to do a little, this is the programmer's favorite thing, which is to write a print statement. So, of course, it's Lisp, so it doesn't actually say print, it says format. And I have to do a format string, and I'm going to say, let's put a code here so it doesn't make everything green. I'm going to say x equals, and then %a, and then y equals %a. Oops. And then that ends the format string, and here are the values, x, y. Let's just see if I'm getting the right values here. So compile that again, and I guess I don't have to run the whole test. I could just run it once. So let's go over here, run it once. X equals 1, y equals 3. It seems like it's stopping. It only does the first 2 digits. Why is that? I should see x equals 1, y equals 3, then x equals 3, then y equals 6. So it's truncating too soon. Let me just see what I'm doing. I'm going to go back to ChatGPT.
Are you sure your parser is working?
My what?
Your parser? You sure it's working?
Yes, I already tested my parser. Who is that speaking? Is that Darren?
Cyphase.
Cyphase. Oh, your voice got very deep. Yes, you weren't here. You weren't here when I tested my parser, but my parser is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. I'll just to be safe, we'll do it one more time just to see. Who knows?
No.
Maybe you're right. No, you could be right. Let's see. I just
It was
want to
just a
see.
general,
Yeah. See, so I'm seeing. So parsing it.
Yeah.
This is the first result. 13679. That's exactly what I want. But for some reason, it's only seeing the first 2 things. It's not. It's so. I think it's this. I think it's the for XY on lawn by Cotter. So what I'm going to do real quickly is go back to ChatGPT and make sure my syntax is correct, because God knows I'm rusty. So, how do I use iter and for to step through a list 2 by 2? Because that's what I'm trying to do. You're right. Macro for xy by CDDR. That's why. All right. Not Cotter, but Coder. Coder.
Although this one is
Look at those
not
values.
iterating the way
They're
you
not
want.
what you want.
Sorry?
Look at those values. They're not what you want.
They're not? Why do you say that?
You want 1, 2, then
1,
2,
2.
3, then 3, 4, then 4, 5, then
Yeah, yeah.
5, 6.
Yeah.
This is going to
So,
do 1,
oh,
2.
it's you're right. It's not. It's not.
three,
Yeah,
four,
yeah.
five,
You're
six.
right. It does. It does 1, 3, 6, 7, 9. It's got to do. So why is it? I'm doing 2 at a time, but I want to do. That's what it's doing, right? I don't want to do that. I want to. Oh, I know how I do that. That's easier. It's actually easier. Iter for x. Well, let me see. I want to x. Yeah, this is where Python would do this so easily because it'd be x colon y, right? It'd be something very simple. For
Zip. Yeah.
Well, I went with a much easier solution, but same thing. Like I just went one at a time.
well, I want to do an iteration here. So I'm doing the first one. I want to get the first and second. So I always have trouble with this one. I liked what I thought I thought I was doing it right, but you're right. I'm doing 2 at a time. What I want to do is the first one, second one, then the second one, third one. So by Coder maybe. I can't remember. Yeah, there we go. By Coder. So it's 1, 3, 3, 6, 6, 7, 7, 9. But it
We're not
runs
seeing
out of.
emails, by the way.
Oh, sorry. Oh God, I'm so sorry. I always forget to. This is always tripping me up because I have to do this all manually. Thank you. So there's the Emacs. So yes, by changing it to CDR Coder instead of Coder, I get what I expect, which is 1, 3. Then XY is 3, 6. By the way, we're going, on the last one because it's pushed. 3 says it was a stack. 6, 7. And then 7, 9. Here's the problem. I'm running out of room. I should stop after 7, 9.
Or just throw away the nil.
Or just do something with a nil. So, but I'm getting. See, this is where the debugger pops up. Here, it's these locals. I don't want to actually. Oh, could I do a test here and say if y is nil? I could do that. I mean, that's really ugly. When I could always do that. Null y.
Is there a way to say skip the last
Yeah, how do I skip the last one?
iteration?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
But null y return true would actually work fine because you've got to the end of the list, right?
Yes, right. It's kind of almost like recursion where you have to have this last test. When null y, I haven't had a failure yet, so I'm done. Yeah. Let's see. I'm still bombing because I think this doesn't like. It's just trying to assign nil to y. No, that shouldn't. Oh, let's do this. Does that work? Yes. Okay. So let's see if the tests work. Yes, 6 pass. I can now take out this print thing. So that was all we had to do. So now we're done. So now the final part is to do the same thing to all of the lines in the code and count them. And that's we're going to do another quick iter. So first we have to parse, let reports equal parse reports report. So that will give us that list. And then iter for R in reports summing if safe report R, if that's true, 1, otherwise 0. I think that's it. So what I'm doing is this is why I broke everything down. I have a parse function. I have a simple function, safe report. It's not so simple, that does one line at a time. And we tested it to make sure it actually does the right thing. And we do another test. We'll see. It passes. Oh, I have to recompile this without the print statement. It passes. All right. So now, in theory, okay, so I parse the reports. I'm going to get a list of numbers, a list of lists of numbers. Now I'm going to go through each one. If that one is safe, I add 1, otherwise 0. So I'm now counting them. I think that's it. And then let's see if it works with the test. Yeah, the test passed. So I did, in fact, get 2 proper tests, which doesn't really surprise me because I did that in the other test. So shall we now try running this and see if we get the right answer? It says the right answer is 663. So now we go back to, oops, not me. Go back to Advent of Code. And I'm going to enter that answer. Let's see if we got it right. What did I say? 663. And let me just check one more time. That's what I got. Yeah, it is. All right. This is the moment you've all been waiting for. Drum roll, please. Yay! It's the right answer. So we did solve it. Okay? So that's a good example of kind of how I work, which is slow. But, and often I have trouble remembering the syntax. So, that's something as the days go by, I'll get better and better at that. It's just been a while since I've done this. It took me a while to find this by Cutter. And then I had to add this null test. So we actually have 3 tests in here. Make sure we haven't run out of list. Then make sure we're not changing direction. And then if we haven't done either of those, that we are getting a difference of 3 or 1, 2, or 3. If all of that's true, then we return true. So that's on a single report. We then ran the tests on each report in the example, and they all came out correct. The first was safe, the second was safe, the rest were not. Then I ran one more test on the final function, and it worked, and we got the answer. So shall we look at part 2? You ready? On we go. Anybody want to throw in anything? Sybase, Darren, Paul?
No, I think you'll like part 2 because you set it up right, so it'll be fairly straightforward.
Well, that's the thing, I talked about this yesterday. There is a rule in programming not to prematurely optimize. And it's really tempting when you're doing this to prematurely optimize, to say, well, maybe let's see do you think part 2 might ask for this or that? And by doing so, you end up maybe overcoding. So let's see. So we got the answer right. First half is correct. Now, the engineers are surprised by the low number of safe reports until they realize they forgot to tell you about, oh no, the problem dampener. It's a reactor-mounted module that lets the reactor safety systems tolerate one single bad level in what would otherwise be a safe report. Now, the same rules apply, except if removing a single level from an unsafe report would make it safe. So all we're really doing is we're going to count the number of failures, and if it exceeds 1, then it's unsafe. And now you see we have the same example, but now we know the answer in this second example is 4. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to go to Emacs, and I'm going to write a new test for part 2. So we're going to go down here in part 2. Let me get rid of this crap. Go down here in part 2, and I'm going to put this test down here, but it's going to be a little different this time. This is day 2 test, day 2-2, and the answer is now, 2, is 4, not 2. So that will be the new test. The example hasn't changed. We just have a different way of doing it. And yeah, you're right. It turns out this is trivially easy because I don't have to do a lot of changing to what I've actually written. So now let me just say, copy this and put this in here.
Although
Oops.
not 100% sure what you said you have to do will work.
Oh, all right. A little caveat.
Think about it.
All
a little
right.
bit.
Darren says, well, don't go, not so fast. All right, let's see here. I'm not going to change the parsing. I don't have to do that, but I am going to change the rules for safe reports. So I'm going to make a new safe report. I'm just going to copy this down here.
Or are you?
Or am I? Oh, God, you guys are giving me these hints. The same rules apply as before, except if removing a single level from an unsafe report would make it safe. Oh, you're right. I see. That's a little more complicated.
Or simpler.
Simpler.
Removing a single level.
Yeah, it's simpler.
So let me look at what he does in the on the website. I often have to read his example. So he says, all right, let's see. So 1 is still safe. It always has been, and 5 has always been, or 6 has always been safe. If I take the 3 out of here, it's safe. And if I take the 4 out of here, it's safe. So the way I'm interpreting that is I'm allowed to have a single failure. Yeah, 2 strikes and I'm out. Exactly SRD law.
Yeah. I wouldn't think of it
That's
like
one
that.
way to interpret it.
All right. You're thinking all right. They're giving me a hint, folks. There's a simpler way to do this.
If you take the 3 out, you're going to get more strikes, aren't you?
Oh.
So go for a much simpler solution.
Take a 3 out. I'm going to get more strikes. 1, 2, 4, 5. No, that's pretty straightforward, right?
Well, okay. Yeah, I just picked a random example.
Potentially,
Potentially
you're
you
saying
get
I could
more
make it
errors.
worse.
Yeah. So yeah.
Paul Holder, your mic is on. I mean, I have your audio on. So if you're not being heard, which you're not, I don't know what's going on. But I did switch.
No, well, I think you heard me before.
Oh, hi, Paul.
Hello.
The funny thing is, as long as I've known Paul, and actually Darren and Sci-Face too, we've never talked. So
Nope,
right,
This is the first time. Yeah.
this is the first time. So
Well,
I
I
don't.
mean, we have
Talked
met before.
electronically.
But, you know,
Yeah, we've
at
only
the
typed
studio.
at each other for years.
In line.
We've typed at each other for years on Discord. That's great. Well, it's nice to meet all 3 of you. These guys are really good coders, all professionals, and they've always been really helpful in helping me solve the harder problems. And they are trying very hard to keep me from going in the wrong direction here. So let me think a little bit longer about what AOC is telling me here. So, same rules, except for removing a level from an unsafe report would make it safe. The report instead counts as safe. So what I was thinking, if I go back to the Emacs, what you've said has really thrown me for a loop. What I was thinking is I could score each one, and That seems more complicated. So you're right. There must be.
Just read the question exactly.
I think
Implement it exactly as
Darren
it
and
is.
I have hinted at a hint, but maybe we should.
No.
Make the
Don't
hint
make it too
zero?
easy. No, hold on. I'll tell you when we're gonna do that. All right, let me look at it again here. It's like the bad level never happened. So the same rules apply, except if removing a single level from an unsafe report would make it safe. So what I could write a second thing that says, oh, if you're getting an unsafe report,
That might work.
then if you're getting an unsafe report, but then I would have to test removing each digit to see if it's safe. You don't expect me to do that, do you?
One. Yeah,
That's what I
maybe.
did.
Well, that sounds like a lot of work. Okay. So
It's much easier than the other one you were talking about.
Well, are you
Is it-
trying to save programmer time or CPU
okay. So I don't want to replace my safe report. That's fine. We're going to keep that. But I just need to change how the main function works. Let me share
So for-
the
for-
Emacs here.
For my checking function, I passed in a parameter out which one to skip, and
I see. So in the way I'm doing safe report, I'm actually testing all the digits. What if I change that to say skip one digit?
I think in Lisp you're going to be much happier making new new things, but because you're doing your jump by two, and so skipping one thing is going to be a nightmare.
Well,
You
it's
can
easy
use
to it's
the safe
it's easy.
report function you have as is.
Yeah,
That-
I'm thinking that it's easy in Lisp to take a list and remove a number. It's not very
Yeah.
efficient. It's slow, but it's
Doesn't
easy
matter.
enough to do that. So what I could do, what I'm going to do is rewrite date this main function. Let me see.
Premature optimization layer.
Oh, really? Is this premature? All right, wait.
Well, I
Let
mean,
me-
you know,
I'm
for a
just thinking this.
5 integer list, it's like, you know.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. It's not the longest one is like 7 or 8 digits. So day 2.
Oh, yeah, it's not 5 long.
Yeah. So, okay. So here I have, if I get a safe report, what I really want to do if I get a safe report, if I get a failed report rather. So this is going to be something different. This is going to be a cond. Okay. Cond. Let's see. You know what? Actually, I'm not going to modify this. What I'm going to do is, oops, too far. I think I want to write a new function. I'll call this relaxed safe report. And this is also going to just take a single report. And the first thing it's going to do is it's going to see if it's safe. If it is, it returns true. If it doesn't, then I'm going to do. Well, you're not actually. You have to go through. You have to remove the numbers from. You have to go through every number and remove it. Oh, that's ridiculous. All right, so. When safe report RPT, if I get a safe report, then simply return true, right? Logically. Now, if I don't get that, now I have to go through the report. Okay, this is really ugly. Okay. Iter for R in RPT, or actually for N, it's a number in RPT. I'm going to remove the numbers one by one. Okay. Okay. So I think
Wait a
that's
minute. There's gotta be an easier.
it seems like there would be. I was going to go through each. So I've got something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I was going to remove 1 and see if it's a safe report. Then remove 2. Then go back to the original, remove 2 and see if it's a safe report. Then go back to the original, remove 3 if it's safe. Like that. Is that inefficient? Is that wrong?
No. I think that's correct. I think maybe I was misunderstanding how
Okay.
you were going to
That's
implement
literally
that
what I did.
operation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I did too.
All right. Okay. So
I would
Yeah.
write the routine
I
to
just mean
do
there's
that
gotta
and
be
unit test it
okay.
standalone.
yes, that's kind of what this is. So this is just going to, I have to remember this syntax. I think it's to remove an item from a list. It's remove, let's see, item from sequence. So remove 1 from 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 7, 5. Should return, yeah. So that's easy enough. So
Oh, I'd be careful with
Yeah.
well, no, this is good. It's functional. I can't actually modify.
that. No, functional is good, but you don't want to remove the 1 because there might be like 3 ones or
Oh,
if you pass
correct.
5 in there, it would remove both of them.
Oh, so I can't do that. You're right. I get what you're saying.
You have to do it by index instead of by value.
Well, that's not so bad.
There's got to be something in list
Yeah,
for that.
subsequence. There's a subsequence.
Yeah. Or like concatenate 2 subsequences or something.
Yeah. So subsequence. Can I do it in a? Yeah, I could do it in a list. I think that's a sequence. Subsequence 0, 1 should return that. Okay. So what I want to do is subsequence 1 to the end. Or actually, I don't even have to do that. Just 1. Then it'll give me the rest of them. Okay. So I can do that. So now I need let L equal length N, because I need to know how long this sequence is. And now, oh, this is so god awful. No, that's wrong. That's wrong. Somebody's working really hard. Who is that? It's Cyphase, typing his little Cyphase heart out. All right. I'm starting to fade now. So, if it's a safe report, just return true. If it's not a safe report, let's try safe report going sequentially. So, do times. Oh, it wasn't Cyphase. It's Paul. Nope.
No,
Darren.
Yeah.
I am typing, but I
Banging on
don't
the
type
keyboard.
that loud.
That's all right. Somebody who types really loud. Okay. So do times index, and I'm going to do this length times. Actually, I could just do a length report here. So I'm going to do this that many times. And I is the index that we're going to remove. So I'm going to do safe report. Let's see, we'll do this when not safe report. And now I have to build this sequence, subsequence. So the sequence is report, and the start, I is going to start at 0. So the start will be 1 plus I to the, oh no, that's not going to work. I need to actually, oh God, I have to chop this thing into little bits. Yeah, Python would make this so much easier because the string manipulation in Python is very straightforward. You can just do slices. I need to do slices of this. So I need to build a report that slices out 1 digit each time through sequentially. The first digit, the second digit, the third digit. So
If it helps, I created like a separate iterator in Python.
yeah.
Just to do that.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I want to make a little function that is going to take as parameters the list and the item in the list I want to remove. Okay, so so the item is the index and then the list. So I'm going to remove. I'm going to return, I'm going to be given a list. I'm going to return the list. Removed. This is probably the right way to do it. So let me think about this though. So we're going to do concatenate into a list subsequence list from 0 to index. Is that going to do what I think? If I do it from 0 to 2, it's going to return the first 2. So 0 to index. So if index is never going to be 0, so it's 1, that'll be the first one. Okay, and then concatenate that with subsequence list from index on. But is it going to be 1? It's going to be 1 plus index. I'm going to have to do a test to make sure I've got this right. This is the kind of thing that would actually be useful to have lying around.
Yeah, those people who used to dominate the thing, they've got these amazing utilities to just do everything.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because they know they're going to see this again. And actually, I think Python slices would do this fairly simply, but I might be mistaken.
It's quite short.
So what I want to see is if I get 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, when I get remove item 1 from 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Let's just see if that's even in the order of the realm of the... Yes, okay. Let's do a few of these. So remove item 2, 3, and 4. So I removed item 1, and I got this. Removed item 2, and I got this. Removed item 3, and I got this. Removed item 4, and I got that, right? Missing a paren. Where's the paren? Oops. Not missing a paren, too many paren. Oh, okay, what did I do wrong? First one worked. The rest of them didn't. Remove item 2 from 001234.
No, it's right. Your tests are wrong because you've got a problem with indexes and numbers.
So this is the base case. Oh, yeah. 001234, and I removed item 2, so that should be this, right? No. Oh, is it 0? It starts at 0? So it should be this. Okay.
Yeah.
0, and then it should be 001, and then 2 should be missing, and then 001, and this should be a 2. Yes? Yeah. Okay, so it's doing removing item index list does the right thing. It takes out, and the index is zeroed out. So it's remove. I should do one more. Oops. Oh, come on, stop it. I should do remove item 0, and that will give me same thing. Yes. Okay, good. All right. So good. I made a little tool. Look, Daddy. I made a little tool called remove item that removes the item from the indexed item from the list, and returns the list with the indexed item removed. So now I can say, for going through the report, the index is going to be I. I'm going to go from 0 to the length of the report. When not safe report, remove item, and the index is I from report. If it's not a safe report, well, that's okay. Oh, crap. Now I have to count how many times, right? Because it's okay to, it's still safe if I remove one item, it's safe. I have to rethink this.
No, you're very close.
I know, I'm so close. So let me think. I can remove one item and it's still safe. So what I have to do is go through this, and if at any point any of these is safe, then it's safe.
Yeah.
Is that right? Okay. So I'm going to go through this, and okay, actually this is a different, I'm going to use iter for this. Iter for I in length RPT. So I'm going to go through all of the things. If always, no, not always, ever. This is driving me crazy. There we go. Let me think about this. Iter has some interesting little summation things. You saw summing earlier. It can also test for the truth or falsity of all the statements. I only need to have one true statement in here, right? So if it's never safe, relax, no, this is relax. If it's never safe report, remove item I from report. If I never get a that, that's going to return true. So that's actually not what I want. I want always. No, that's not what I want either. I want any. If at any time I get a safe report, I'm golden. If I don't, then I'm not. So when safe report, then return true, right? because now I know that by removing something I got true. Otherwise, return false because I never got a true. So I think that's it. Let's try this again. So relaxed safe report says, if I get a safe report, that's true. But if I don't get a safe report, then let's go through each item and each number, remove it, and see if I get a safe report. If I get a safe report, it's true. If I never get a safe report, if none of this came out, then it's false. I think that's right. Yes?
Sounds right. Yeah.
Sounds right. Oh, there is no F in Lisp. There is no F. There is only nil. All right. One error condition, return for unknown block. Yeah, let's see. That's probably just bad parenthesizing. So, that's true. That's true. Okay, so if I get that, okay, that's true. Return true. Otherwise, maybe I do a return from. Maybe that's all it is. It needs to know where to return from. Okay. Otherwise, return nil. Yes. Okay, so now summing if relaxed safe report. If I get a relaxed safe report on any of these, I count it, and otherwise not. I think that's it. Let's see if does that make sense? All right, then this should come up with the answer 4. No. It came up with 5. Wait a minute, what? Oh, it came up with something's wrong. That's just an error. There's some logic error. It takes a report. Should really be reports. Because it's a series of reports. So I parse them, and I'm going to get back reports. For R and reports, which is an individual line, summing if relaxed safe report R. Let's just try it this way. Relaxed safe report first parse ports example. That should be true. But let's see if the second one, no, what did he say? The second one is true? Let's go back to, actually, I don't have to take you back. I can just look. The second one's untrue. The second one's false. Third one's false. Fourth one's true. So let me just see what I got here. Okay, so that's true. Do all these tests here. Do this for the second one. That should be true. Oops, error. What happened? Huh.
It's telling you the value of 5 is.
Yeah, well, I'm getting a number, not what I expect. Let me see what this is. 86441. So why am I getting a 5?
Because did you in your test did you check removing the very last item?
Oh, I shouldn't do that, should I? Or should I? Yes, I should. Right?
Yeah, but I don't know if you tested it and if your function.
Let's see. Like safe report. I go through one in the length of the report.
Because your 1 plus index in the subsequent list could be a problem.
Ah. Well, let's see here in the tests. Let's see what happens if I remove item 5 and remove item 6. So 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, you're right. Or maybe not. No, that was parenthesis error. Okay, you're right. The last one fails. 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Remove item 6. 1, 2, 3. Should be 4. Ah, yeah, I'm fading. 0, 0, 1, 2, 0, 0, 2, 3, 4. 1, 3, 4, 0, 0, 1, 2, 4.
I think it's just you're getting the list of 1 plus index, whereas if index is right at the end, you're asking for a list that's 1 past it, and maybe thingy doesn't like Lisp doesn't like that.
That makes sense. Okay, that's correct. But what if I go 1 past it? But I don't think I will go 1 past it because the length of this 0, 1, 2, the length of that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's going 0 to 5. So no, I don't think that's. So the list is subsequence list 0 to index, and then list 1 plus index is where I start.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
And then it's assumed that that's the end. I think that's this test correct. I don't know what would happen if I do this. Oops. I don't know what would happen if I do this. Nothing. Presumably nothing. Yeah. You can't. I'm going beyond, but I should never get beyond it because the
Yeah, no, you're right. So some other,
the index. I don't think I'm going out of the bounds. Okay. So, and the relax safe report. I remove item from the report. And well, I could do some tests here. Maybe I should.
because what you've written is basically exactly what I wrote.
Yeah. Well, great minds, right? It's actually, there really isn't, unless there is some magic mathematical algorithm that neither one of us sees. Let's see, is true, relax safe report on, I have to do the same thing I did here. Let RPTS is parse reports, example. All right, and then first reports should be true. Yep. But is that true for all of them? Second, third, I overdo tests, I know. I like tests though, because it's such a nice feeling when it passes.
In the real world, I would do even more tests like this.
You wouldn't even do this many tests?
No, I would do more tests than this.
More? Oh yeah. These aren't testing all sorts of things. Yeah, I agree.
In my world, I use testing to get 100% coverage, so I always have way
Right.
too many tests.
Right, because you want to test for all sorts, and I'm making all sorts of assumptions about the kind of data I'm getting, and I'm not testing for out of bounds things that assuming that we're being given good stuff. Yeah, there's that same error. 5 is not of type list, so that's good. That's telling me something. This should be, by the way, true, true, false, false, false. Right? I think. Let me go look at it. It's safe, unsafe, unsafe, safe, safe, safe. So it should be false. What was it? Safe, unsafe, safe, safe. 2 unsafes. Okay, so 2 falses, and then true, true. Okay. So there is an error, unexpected error. Sometimes I get these Lisp errors that a Lisp whiz would go, oh yeah, you see, you're getting a 5 there. That means it's out of bounds or something. But I don't know what it is. Okay. The value 5 is not of type list. It's funny because the first one does pass. That's weird. Second, this is at the time of the evening where I would normally say, "I'll screw it and go to bed," but I can't now. I'm committed. So why can't I do this? Why do I get that error on the second one?
The first one might actually be passing. One of them might actually be passing on your first condition and not ever getting into the iterator.
Well, if it passes on the first condition, it's safe, right?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So
Oh, I see. It's not getting into the subsequent stuff.
it's not getting
getting
into the
it's not getting
yeah.
into this because it's passing right away.
Yeah, so that's
That's
just
exactly
not-
right.
yeah.
The second one, we were going to save. It's immediately safe. The second one is unsafe regardless of which level is removed. So in this case, I'm going to go through all of the levels from I to the length of report, remove all of those, and never get a safe report.
So when you remove one from your list, it's not making it nil or something, is it? It's still leaving it in place? It's actually
Yeah.
definitely removing
You
it?
can see it here because when I remove item 0 from the list 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, I get 0, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, okay.
And when I remove item 1, I get 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 because there's 2 zeros. When I remove item 2, I get 0, 0, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So as long as I don't go past the length of the list, which I shouldn't, because I'm using the length of the list as it's for I.
I think it's time for a print inside your iterator.
No, I know what it is. For I, it's up to. It is including the last one, I think. It doesn't like up to. So maybe it's below. Yeah, I just realized you can't say in. You have to say below. If it's in, makes it inclusive. So now these should all pass. Nope. At least I don't get the 5 anymore. I just get the wrong answer. So that's a good start. I was in fact going to the length, and because I didn't use below, I used in. I was going all the way through that, but now it's I2. It stops at the length of the report, so that's correct. So I'm not getting it out of bounds. I'm just not getting the right report. It's always report returning 2. That's simple. That's some other thing. Okay, so I should be getting a false on the second one, which means the second one is way up here. 1, 2, is that the second? Let's do it again. It is 86441. So that's when we're removing the 4,
Fixes it.
fixes it. So that should actually be true.
Yeah, because I think your things are reversed, aren't they?
Oh yeah, I pushed them. That's why. It's upside down. It's safe, 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 unsafe, unsafe. Whoops. Okay. Yeah. I forgot I pushed it. I can reverse. I should reverse it. That would be the right thing to do, but it's too late to do that. I should just reverse. At the end here, I should say reverse.
But then you got to change everything.
Well, do I though? Do I? Would it break everything if I do that? I don't think I assume that they come in any order. Here, here, here. The only place I do that is in this test here. Yeah, that all comes out okay. So it's this. I don't have to fix this now. Oh, but now I have half fixed it. So it's safe, unsafe, unsafe, safe, safe, safe. So it's true, true, false, false. Wait a minute. True, false, true, false, false, true, true, true. True, false, false. True, true, true. That should work. And it still is always giving true, which is not good. So I will figure that out. But I have to visit the little boys' room. So I'm going to be right back. I don't do anything without me. No typing without me. Okay, I'm in trouble with my wife now. She says I have to wrap this up in 15 minutes. So the clock is ticking on solving this. Let's see. This is working, right? And I'm doing the right index now because I'm doing below. So I'm going to, if it's a safe report right up front, I'm done. It's true. I wonder if that's not always happening though. So
This all looks all right, but I thought in the examples that it came out with 4. You should have 4 correct, right?
yeah, at the end I should have 4, but I'm not
But
even there yet.
You've only got 3 in this assertion.
Safe, unsafe, unsafe, safe, safe, safe. Safe, unsafe, unsafe, safe, safe, safe. And actually missing one here, but I didn't. I'll do one just for completeness.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And then safe, unsafe, safe, safe, safe. So now I have 4.
Because what you've got looks right to me.
Feels right. It feels right. It's a syntax error. It's some little silly thing. Literally, it's all it is. It's some silly little thing in here. Relax safe report. I'm going to look at a single report. When safe report, yep, return, saying it's true. If it's not, then what I do is I go through, and the I is the index through the report, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to the length of the report, just below it. If it's a safe report, when I remove that item I, 0, 1, 2, 3 from the report, then say, oh yeah, it's safe, it's true. Otherwise, I'm going to return a nil because I have not found a safe report. It's neither fully safe nor is it safe when I even remove one item. That looks right. It does look right. The logic looks good on that. Is the test right? Parse reports example.
So is nil definitely
Yes,
false?
nil's always false. There's T or nil in Lisp. So you can see I return T when it satisfies my requirements, but I return false absent that. There would be a cleaner way to write this probably, but so what am I getting? Let me look again at my tests and the test results. The first two pass. Actually, two pass. Second, third, fourth, and fifth do not. But first and sixth are right.
So that means it's not always returning true.
No, in fact, it says did not return a true value.
So I'm back to the, are they in the right order?
Yeah, it's something stupid like that, huh? Second reports returned the value true, which is true. So second should be false, but in fact it returned true. No, that's right. It is supposed to be true. No. Let me look at the, you know what? I screwed everything up by reversing this, but let me just.
Just going to say, when you reverse it, it didn't reverse the individual elements.
No.
Or did you actually run it again when you reversed it? Or you still got the old value or something?
No, let's see. I compile that. It tests out all right. That tests out all right. Okay, so the first half is correct. Let me just examine it. Parse reports example. Let's just examine it. And I think I'm getting the same thing I'm supposed to get with, let's see, I'm going to look at the advent of code 7642112789976. Yeah, that's all correct. So it is now correct in the right order because I reversed it. So that's good. And then Eric says, well, let's just, okay, now I'm not getting an error. I can go through these here. Wait a minute. Let's just, relax safe report second, it says is false. That's correct, right? It's supposed to be false. Let's do the third one. Maybe I've got something wrong in the tests. This is where tests don't help you. Third one is false, but the third one's supposed to, no, that's right. It says the fourth one false. Let's do the fourth one. That's supposed to be true. It is true. Oh, you know what? Something's wrong here.
I think it's just when you reversed and then didn't.
Something's
run it
wrong
again,
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, something dumb's wrong. Let's just add a curiosity, see if I get the right answer in my example. It should come out 4. It does. I think I'm going to ignore those tests and try this. It says the answer is 692. So let's switch over.
Do you save your actual answers in your code?
Yes, I do, and I'll show you how I do that. So I'm switching over now to AOC, and I'm going to enter 692, and let's see if that's right. Drum roll, please. It is right. Yay. So the tests were wrong,
Yeah.
which really is annoying. Now, here's how I save it. So now that I've got it done, I'm going to just delete all these tests. Who needs those? Those are useless. I'm going to do, I've been doing incremental compilation all along with Control CC, but I'm going to do Control CK, which now compiles the whole file. And it runs all the tests, as you could see. And it gives me the answers here, including the timings, which I then paste.
We can't see because we're looking at that.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Let's do that all again. All right, thank you. I always forget to do this. Too many things going on. So I've deleted the tests. I'm going to CK this, which is compiled and loaded. And then what happens over here on the right is the result of running everything, including the final bits, in which I copy, and then I paste that into the bottom of the thing. And that's as much for timings as anything else. Comment those out. So yeah, so that's how I preserve the answers, Paul. And you can see it took 1/1000th of a second in both cases, which is probably accurate. And that's even loading the data in each time for part 1 and part 2 and all of that. So there.
You had a lot more valid ones than I did. My numbers were both in the
Really?
300s.
Isn't that interesting? I mentioned at the beginning that there are a variety of different input sets. Does anybody know how many there are?
From everybody's codes, there was 100.
Ah,
But
interesting.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't
But
know.
I actually think some of them, because some of the really complicated ones there's only like a couple of them because
Yeah.
they're from a thing. But I think some of them he can just generate a number, and they might all be unique.
Right.
And then there's probably anything in between.
Yeah, I think you're right. Some of the ones towards the end of last year, some of the ones with monkeys throwing shit. I have a feeling there are only a few inputs that actually work. Remember, the shoelace algorithm was a good example, where I have a feeling there were only a few that actually worked.
So the way he did it with everybody's codes, we found out because
Ah.
he screwed up early on and he had to redo it. But he gave us a query you could do in JSON to see what your
Oh.
seed was, and then the seed mapped into a table. But what he did was there weren't 100 different possible answers. There might have been only 30, but he mixed them up over the 100. So it seemed like the 100 repeated for every question. And maybe there would be 100 if that was a possibility, or maybe there would be less, and they would be mixed up among the seeds.
Interesting.
If there was, less.
Interesting. Well, whatever Eric does, Eric Wastel is a wizard, and I really enjoy these problems. He does a fantastic job, and every year I contribute $50 because I get so much value. I probably should give more this year.
This one was slightly harder than
Really?
it looked at first. I think it's not. It wasn't. I mean, it wasn't as easy as day one. It was a little more challenging because you saw
Right.
you had to learn something new, right? You had to learn how to
Right.
remove
But
something on the
that's
list.
what I would expect. Like each day would get incrementally a little bit harder. Last year there was a huge anomaly, and I really think it was in response to artificial intelligence solvers, that day 5 was just completely out of the normal.
I think you also have to map it to the days
Yeah.
of the week because he likes to give
On the
a hard
weekends.
one on
Yeah.
Friday or
I
Saturday.
do know that.
Yeah.
It's really fun how we're all trying to read the tea leaves on what Eric is up to. But these are so much fun, and I really enjoy them. And you can see it's a great way to get better and more proficient in a language, to help you think logically about problems. It helps me reinforce the kind of the good programming habits I learned in HTTP. I really enjoy doing it, and I appreciate you guys' support. How fast did you guys finish it all in about 10 minutes, right?
I was slower.
You said you had a
tonight.
logic issue.
I, for some reason, I had an if that got nested and I didn't realize it, so it was always
You can
returning
see
false.
that.
So I guessed 95, 94, 93, and then it was like
But
3.
this starting one, Sci-Phase is always heaps faster than me. He goes very quickly.
Yeah. There's some people who are incredibly quick. Sci-Phase, you actually let's look at the leaderboard. I'm actually curious now how you all did. Now that we've completed this, we can go to the private leaderboard and see. Sci-Phase, you're still on top. Nice job, my friend. Paul, you're second. Darren, you're third. So we got the top 3 in here right now. And I'm very proud to say I'm in the top 5, which is great. But look how many people, 21 people participating. Now, on day 2, we only have 6 so far. But I think that timing-wise, a lot of people do it in the next day because it's just inconvenient.
The funny thing is, there's a very nasty thing with the scoring that hurt Sci-Phase 2 years ago and is going to hurt me this year, is that if you are late on the first puzzle, because it's based on your position, so like I didn't come home until late yesterday, so I did it, and so like 14 people beat me or something. So that means I dropped 28 points.
Wow.
Now, as you go through, everybody stops doing it, and so there's only 2 people. So you can only pick up 2 points each time. So it takes you 14 weeks to recover that first day.
Wow.
Quite annoying.
Wow. Well, I think you've demonstrated, all 3 of you have demonstrated your agility and your skills in this. I'm just proud that I can kind of I can kind of hold my own, at least for the first few days. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. And when you hit that submit button and you get a gold star, that's a pretty darn good feeling. I really
honestly
enjoy
thought
it.
you were going to finish it last year because you came so close.
Day 22.
Yeah,
I
we
know,
kept pushing
Paul
you.
especially, but I think I was doing the bricks thing, and I just lost. It's not so much I couldn't solve it as I kind of lost interest. Maybe I'll go back. I don't know. All right, should I finish this year? Should I get to all 25? With your help, maybe I can. I'm not going to stream every day. In fact, I think this is probably the last day I'm going to stream. But Paul, we've decided. Darren, you're invited. Sci-Phase, you're invited. Tell me again. Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific. Is that what we decided on? We're going to do at least for the first few weeks, I would like to do a weekly summary of the first few days. Things we learned, different little insights and so forth. It'd be kind of fun, a post-mortem in effect. So December 5th, we're going to do days 1 through 4. That'll probably be the next stream, and that'll be at 5 p.m. Pacific, which is 8 p.m. Eastern and 0100 UTC. And you're welcome to join us. We will stream that in the club as well as everywhere else, and we'll get your participation. I've been doing these. This is streaming on my own YouTube, and I will do that. When I do stuff that's just me, that's not really part of Twit, I will do that. And I'll stream on the YouTube and wherever else we can. Partly because if it's in the club, it gets deleted immediately afterwards and put exclusively in the club, and I don't care to do that with this. So anyway, I thought this was a lot of fun, and I really appreciate you guys popping in. That helps me a lot.
You actually helped me because I was listening as I coded. I entirely missed that it had to be strictly increasing or strictly decreasing. Initially, I was just coding it so it only had a difference of 3.
Well, there you go.
Less than 3.
We
that
added something good. I'm glad I could help you. You've helped me so many times in the past, Paul. I really appreciate it.
So another thing we could do at some point in one of these reviews is, if you want, is we could go back and look at, for example, 22 or whatever
Sure.
we're having a problem with, which is a much harder one than the ones that people have seen
these
so far.
first two were really pretty trivial and shouldn't take more than 15 minutes really to solve. They're not that complicated, barring a typo or something like that. But it gets harder really quickly, and we're going to start doing. There'll be pathfinding. You'll have to brush up your Dijkstra or your A-star algorithms. You'll need to know some stuff. We learned the shoelace algorithm. I learned the Chinese. What is that? The Chinese remainder theorem.
Remainder
Yeah.
theorem.
Holy cow. If you didn't study computer science and mathematics, some of this stuff might seem very obscure. And yet Eric says you don't need a CS degree to solve these. I'm not sure that's true. You certainly need to know algorithms. I've gone out and bought a bunch of algorithm books just to kind of keep up with these problems. Some of them are very tricky. Lots of fun. So thank you, everybody, for joining me. We had another good night. We'll see you again Thursday, December 5th, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. And I think it'll be a lot of fun. If I'm in the mood tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Pacific, I might try day 3. I think there's a betting pool going on how long before I just go, I can't do it, and go to bed. Shouldn't happen in the first week, but we'll see. Thank you, Paul, so much, and I appreciate all you do for all of Club Twit, especially your help in our forums. Paul does some very good posts in the Twit community forum. In fact, I'll go there right now and I'll show you his posts so that you can, if you want to get a little bit more detailed, you can see. Let's see, where is that? That should be showing up. Yeah, I just, I think I can only. This Restream makes me do this in. If it's not a tab in Chrome, I can't see it. So let me paste that into Chrome, which is not my default browser for very good reason. And now I can switch over to it and show you, I think. Yeah. So here is Paul's. And Paul does a really nice thing. He hides the spoilers. Make this a little bit bigger. So this is on our Twit community, twit.community. Paul does this every year, which I really appreciate. So if you want to solve this. Now, the only bad thing, Paul, about your solutions, what the hell is this Java crap? Oh, my God. I don't. It must, to you, though, it just looks normal, doesn't it? I'm sure people say that when they see the Lisp.
Yeah.
But every time I see public static long, I go, I don't want to type that.
I don't type as much as you think because
Right.
my IDE helps.
And you
me
might
go
have
really
seen
fast.
Emacs auto fills a lot of stuff too. So it's true that's one of the reasons you use Emacs.
I like Java for the same reason why you like
Yeah.
the Racket you're using, because unit testing
Yeah.
is super easy. in
Racket
Java.
made it very easy. It took me a little while to do it in Lisp. I had to figure out how to get the library to. In Lisp, most people do it as a separate file, which is how you probably should do it as a real coder. But I figured out how to do it inline, and I really like inline testing because, as you can see, it's very easy for me to, write something, test it, see if it's doing what I expected. That is really how I
I do. I like inline testing for real. And in
Yeah.
Java, we used to put our tests at the end of our classes because also inner classes get compiled out separately, so it's very easy to remove them.
Yeah.
But it's very nice to have them right there. So yeah.
Nice. So I guess I'm not such a kook. Hey, I really appreciate it. Very nice to have finally have a direct connection with you. Mary, thank you for your kind words. We'll probably do more. Mary is watching on x.com. All right, I will do it tomorrow night, 9 p.m. I'll be back, day 3 for Advent of Code. Thank you, everybody. We'll post this on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Leo Laporte. Cyphase, thank you for being here. I turned your microphone off, but then I turned it back on. So if it's working, I turned the wrong one. Now it's on.
Hey, there we go.
Sorry, Cyphase. I
No,
turned your desktop
I know
off.
it's all good.
All
Figured
right.
it was something.
Hey, thank you for your help too. I really appreciate it. So all of us just solved it basically the same way. Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I don't think there's really an obvious
Well, I
different
think
way.
the
to
other
do
way
it.
would
You know
be
what I mean, you got to remove, you got to test.
To try and do the skipping stuff inside the safe report checker. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's how I did.
That's how I
mine.
started. And remember, you guys said
No,
stop.
right.
Don't do it
And
that
I
way.
think that,
Well, no, but you were doing different things. Like the skip inside is one thing, but what you were trying to do is what the first thing I thought of as well, which is counting up the errors, and that's tricky because one number pulling out could add
Yeah.
more, like 2 errors.
Yeah, that was really good. You steered me well because you were absolutely right. The best way to do that was how I ended up doing it. I agree with you 100%. So we're
I
done.
think it really depends
We have
on what your goal is. Like, are you trying to make something as if you were making production code that's going to be handling gigabytes a second of this list, or are you just trying to make something readable, or
Yeah,
It all
I mean,
depends.
I thought somewhere in between. Obviously, this wouldn't be production code, but I want to make something that I guess my idea is something that I could look at later or somebody else could look at and say, oh, I kind of get what you're doing.
Yeah.
Usually, I don't do it. I haven't been doing it here, but usually I'll write more extensive notes in the comments about what's going on, just to help me understand what I'm doing. In this case, these were all fairly straightforward, I think.
And I think for readability, this is the right approach. Versus trying to
Yeah.
implement some, tricky
I'm not
algorithm.
trying to write a one-liner. I see a lot of that, but I'm not trying to do that. To me, I feel like for me, the best way to learn is to do it in at least a somewhat responsible way. I haven't commented as much as I ought to, but other than that. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Cyphase, Darren, Paul. Thanks to everybody who's watching. See you tomorrow night.
All right, see you guys.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Night.